You're watching Home Box Office.
To him, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Witty, loving, warm. To her, he was a friend she could always turn to. A lover, a husband, a man as compassionate as he was strong.
Wait, don't tell me. He's not at home, not back from lunch yet, and not at the clinic. Third time this week.
But there was a need in him he could no longer keep unexplored.
Tell me about your mysteries, my friend. How much longer are you going to wait?
We're going to cut this out and we're going to talk. I can handle it no matter what it is, but I cannot handle the silence.
So, why don't you stay the night?
I'm in love with Claire. I don't know what kind of a life I could have without her. I mean, I love her. I don't want to be without her.
Zach's the only man I've ever been with. He's the only man I've ever wanted to be with.
Then damn it, girl, what are you sitting here for?
Michael Ontkeen, Kate Jackson, Harry Hamlin, Making Love. Friday on HBO.
This is HBO.
The following program is produced in cooperation with the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists.
The subject deals openly and frankly with human sexuality. Parental discretion is advised.
Do I think I'm a good lover? I've never had any complaints, I'll say that.
My girlfriend thinks I'm the sexiest, most handsome, sweetest, best lover in the whole world.
I would say I'm better than the average bear.
There's no in my bedroom, unless it hurts.
I mean, I always think sometimes there's something I'm missing.
You know, I'm married and everything, but it isn't like the movies are, you know. It's a lot different.
Everywhere you turn, on TV, in movies, books, and magazines, it always looks like somebody else has it just a little steamier, a little fancier, or with a little more imagination than you do.
Take the walk, fun.
Reduced. Right now,
Everyone has something to say about making love better, from the layman on the street to the foremost experts in the field of human sexuality. And in this show, they'll be talking about just that, your sexual expectations and what you can do about making love better.
Yeah, actually, I think one of the problems is our expectations. I call it the sexual Olympics. If everybody's not a gold medal winner, they think there's something wrong with them, and without any practice. You know, in sport, somebody could be the fastest marathoner. You wouldn't think, well, I have to be able to do that. But in sex, if somebody else can do it, we feel like there's something wrong with us if we can't.
Dr. Lonnie Barback of the University of California Medical School in San Francisco is an author and therapist. She will discuss sexual performance and pleasure along with her colleagues.
Dr. Robert Kolodny is the Director of Training at the Masters and Johnson Institute in St. Louis, Missouri.
Dr. Teresa Crenshaw, an author and therapist, is co-director of the Human Sexuality Division of the University of California Medical School in San Diego.
Dr. Michael Perlman is a therapist and assistant professor of psychology at Cornell University Medical School.
Dr. Harvey Kaplan is a therapist who established the Sex Therapy Human Sexuality Program at the University of California Medical School in San Francisco.
Our first question, aimed at making love better, deals with sexual arousal.
How many erogenous zones are there?
3. I can't tell you exactly where, but I think 3.
For me, about 5.
Actually, I've got a real hot spot right about here. Everything. The ends of the hair to the ends of the toenails.
I'd say there are as many as you can find.
How many erogenous zones are there? Are there 3, 7, 69, Countless.
Dr. Harvey Kaplan.
When I was growing up as a young man, learning to be a man was a difficult thing. My friends and I learned about our obligations in sex through sex manuals, and the sex manuals taught us about things called erogenous zones, which we learned were things that women have on their bodies that we should know in sequence. They included earlobes, nape of neck, nipples, inner thighs, backs of knees, toes, and a few other places. And if we knew them and stimulated them properly and in sequence, we were guaranteed great results. It took me years, and I imagine most of my friends years, to find out that the concept of erogenous zones is misleading, if not fallacious. The human body is an erogenous zone. The human body responds to stimulation.
So there are countless places on the body to explore. Any part can be a source of pleasure and excitement.
Sometimes a man can get too excited too soon, causing him to peak prematurely. So the question is, how can a man keep from ejaculating too soon?
You think about your job, you think about mundane things like your master charge bill that's overdue 2 months already or something like that, to keep you from getting terribly excited. Things like that. Or you think about your mother-in-law.
It happens, it happens. I don't use any of the chemicals or the creams or any kind of meditation.
Just before you start to come, stop. And then wait a couple minutes and keep going. Until you can't wait anymore. It's better like that. Sometimes, If you got the patience, a lot of people don't. Most of the time, I don't.
My friend used to tell me, to him to have the sex long before he came, he would, think about going to jail, and that would help him out for a long time. Just think of something else.
How can a man keep from ejaculating too soon? Think about something else, like work. Set a relaxing romantic mood. Learn a physical technique.
Dr. Robert Kolodny.
The man who resorts to adding up his office expense sheet or replaying the last quarter of the basketball game in his mind as a way of controlling ejaculation is really subtracting himself from sexual participation. It is true that he may be able to slow down the urgency of his physical response, but he's doing it at a great cost.
And what the man needs to learn how to do is focus in on what he's experiencing, become aware of some of the clues that his body will give him that he's getting closer to orgasm, and when he feels any of those clues, interrupt the stimulation, let that urgency go down, let that urgency die away, which may cause his erection to get a little softer, in which case just stimulate it some more and it'll get harder again.
What one needs to realize is that sex, once it begins, is not an ever progressive act that gets more rapid and more vigorous and goes straight up to a climax. That sex has peaks and valleys. It can build up, it can slow down, it can be firm, it can be tender. And if a man recognizes within himself those signs that he is nearing ejaculation with the current stimulation, then he can make moves to adjust what he's doing to avoid that straight rise to climax.
How can a man keep from ejaculating too soon? Learn a physical technique. Without reducing the pleasure of lovemaking, there are things a man can do to control his sexual response. But exactly what is it that men respond to? It's a question that echoes down the ages. Is there some magic ingredient that turns men on?
Women. Women turn men on.
A nice body turns a man on. Yeah. Even some that aren't so nice.
Good-looking women, of course, but they should have nice teeth and nice hands, and of course legs could also be positive.
If she can look at me with real deep, meaningful love, it's such a turn on for me. There's nothing can top that one.
I think for me the greatest turn on really is to be in control and kind of be the man in charge.
Garters. Men love garters, all different colors, you know, with the different color stockings.
I find someone half